you very much. If you're tuning in for the first time, thank you very much. Really appreciate the support. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day today. Z, what'd you do today?
Been a pretty good day. Woke up, family and I went to church, had a good word. I would say pretty brief points. God's always in control. Remember that, and you're gonna be just fine. God's always in control, no matter what's going on.
And that's a great lead into to what we wanted to talk about today. I know Z posted the topic for the day was going to be mental health, and that's a pretty powerful topic. There's so much going on in everyone's lives, and you just never know what people are dealing with. So we wanted to talk about that today. Share a few things that I'm dealing with, and a couple things on how I go about trying to handle that.
Same here as well. Share my experiences.
Yeah, and it's a pretty heavy topic, right? But I think it's a very, very important topic to discuss, especially when Z and I we want to talk about health and wellness. This is a major part of that as well. We don't want to overlook that part of it. So basically, how I want to start off with is let's just start by talking about dealing with adversity. How do you deal with things in your life when they come up? When challenges happen, what do you do? How do you address those? What do you do to do you deal with it straight on? Do you avoid it? Do you do you talk to a friend? What do you do? So me personally, just kind of for transparency,
like, and what you doing? I'm gonna put some in this poll here while you discussing.
Full transparency, this is something like in the past I would really just kind of shut down and isolate myself. I would never wanted to talk about things with anybody. I would have kept them to myself. I would self-medicate to just not have to think about it. I did all the wrong things. When it came to adversity and dealing with difficulty and challenges in my life, whether or not it's work, relationships, being a parent, being, a teenager, just all the different things that we go throughout our lives. Some of the, I was talking with Z before we came on here today, this goes back for me, back to, probably my early 20s. And probably even a little bit before that, just, kind of trying to figure out where I fit in life and what my purpose is and, what my career goals are and how all those things line up. But it goes back into my like I said, my early 20s. At that time, in college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And the one thing that I did do was, I kind of just partied a lot.
Yeah. I wasn't a big partier. I was more to myself a lot. And kind of like you, I kind of kept things to myself. I didn't really talk to no one about it. So I was always more of a loner. So I didn't go to a lot of parties and I didn't drink then, but I kept things in. And they said really dealing with mental, that's really bad because then whenever it does come out, you kind of explode. So you need somebody to talk to, you need to have some engagement, or you need some way to get that frustration or whatever you're dealing with out. And I didn't do that. I usually just kept it to myself and stay to myself. Because I thought, hey, if I'm talking to somebody, I'm being weak. And a lot of men think that way. And so as you learn, as you get older, you need to find ways to deal with it in a more positive, healthy way.
Absolutely. And that, like you said, the positive, healthy way. And, you brought up a really good point, being a man and I can only speak from a man's perspective, right? I'm not saying that not everyone, doesn't have the same types of challenges and adversity. I know Z's not either. But, I do think as a man, I feel sometimes that we are expected to act a certain way or expected to handle ourselves or carry ourselves a certain way, not show weakness.
Right.
Right. And that's very, very difficult because again, these are real feelings that we deal with. These are real important life changing events that can occur, that do occur. You know, life happens on life's terms. You know, we can't stop those things. And Z brought another really good point out. Like, what I have found over time is, and actually really probably in the last year and a half to 2 years, is that you have to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I've got you,
Yeah,
and you and I've talked a lot about things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got, you know, another buddy of mine that I reach out to, and I'll share, you know, all the things and how I'm feeling and stuff like that. You know, my wife I talk to, but you know, that's pretty much it. And I mean, and that's, you have to have an outlet, right, for all this. You cannot just keep it inside, or I've found that I can't keep it inside, because what happens then is I start to spiral.
Yep. Yes. Yes. So to add to that, I would say the same thing. You know, from my experience, how I would deal with mental health or my stresses. There's things you deal with from your childhood. There's things you deal with, as being a man when you're trying, especially when you have a family, you're trying to take care of your family, make sure you're doing the things you're supposed to do. Um, your job, when you have your career that you're trying to be great at, or your job and things that stresses you out there, we deal in the public and the retail side. There are, there's some days there, dealing with the public, how it can be and how it cannot be. Um, Also, your own insecurities as well. As a man, everybody has their own insecurities, and that could stress you out. So, and how you deal with it. And there have been past times, how I dealt with it, either self-medicate, and that was the wrong way. And I would be alone self-medicating. So, he is right. You need to have an outlet. You need to have someone to talk to, or some way to dealing with your stresses or insecurities, which is one of the big mental health issues we have in this country today, and that men deal with. So I definitely agree with you in regards to that.
I've talked to a therapist before. Have you ever talked to a professional or sought professional help at all?
Yes. Yes, we have. It was interesting. I felt like they give you some different options to use, some things you might not think about, or something to practice, because they're going to ask you about it when they come back for the next session.
Right.
So yeah. So, and it was interesting to try, but it was stress relieving, to think, to use, to try some new options that you might not think about. So it was interesting to try.
Yeah, and so I've done individual therapy. I was a little bit younger when I did that. As I mentioned earlier, it goes back a ways for me.
Mhm.
But I remember at the time when I did it, I I thought I was smarter than the therapist. I thought, but it was nice to have somebody to talk to. I mean, I remember just like sharing things. It kind of was the biggest benefit that I found was that, being able to say those things out loud that you're thinking and feeling inside.
Mhm.
But I didn't pursue it. Again, I was younger, and I just didn't see the benefits of it. And I was, as we just mentioned earlier, I was self-medicating. I was drinking quite a bit, partying quite a bit, and so that was my way of dealing with it. It wasn't addressing the actual issues or what was causing me to have those feelings. It was, okay, let's drink, let's go out, and have a good time and not even think about it. Which for me, was not a healthy way to do that, and that led to I actually honestly made things worse for me,
Yep.
because again, it just kind of prolonging it and pushing it off, and
Mhm.
really didn't help. But uh, I do find the benefits, and later in my life, probably in the last couple years, I did go back and have uh, a couple more sessions with the therapist, some um, uh, marriage counseling,
Mhm.
to talk about those things. But I definitely recommend that. And one of the things that you have, I don't know if I would check this out with your employer, but there's some health and wellness benefits that you can get from your employer. A lot of times, where you can actually have a couple free sessions with someone, telephone meetings, or even some virtual live meetings that way.
Yeah. At Chase, at our, I shouldn't say our Super Bank, but we do have an EAP line that you can reach out to, and they can give you free, 6 free sessions to schedule with a therapist, which is what we have used before, which is very helpful. So, and I'm glad to, work for a company that recognizes that, if you need help or you want someone to talk to, we have outlines that you can reach out to, help you with whatever you have going on. And they help you with, all different, issues that you think that might not be mental stress. It could be not just, stress or anxiety, or if you have a disease, or it could be financial, it could be physical. They'll be able to talk to you about a lot of different options. And as you see, now, we also have mental health, awareness month. And we also have mental health days that you can take. So I'm glad that, society is becoming more aware and helping out with these issues, because this is a glaring issue. You see it in our society today, in our communities, that mental health is, very rampant, and it continues to grow, especially with these days and times that we have right now. People are dealing with a lot of financial stress, and that can really cause a lot of depression for people, and they will start self-medicating or use different ways to deal with their stress. So, is it okay if we go through some of these, top mental health issues? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So top mental health issues, obviously we have anxiety disorders, affects 19.1% of U.S. adults annually, 40 million people. Common types are, generally anxiety disorders, social anxiety, panic disorder, phobias. Number 2 is depression. Major depressive disorders affect 8.4% of U.S. adults yearly. Number 3 is substance use disorders. 20.4 million U.S. adults have substance use disorder, which also is alcohol use disorder, which me and E talked about. 14.5 million adults. That's a lot of people. And obviously a big one these days is opioid epidemic. Over 80,000 opioid-related deaths in 2022. I would like to stop there to say, obviously, I think probably everyone has a family member or friend that is dealing with, someone with opioid use, antidepressants or so. I recently had a couple family members pass away due to, opioid, epidemic, or, related death. So it was very tragic to have to deal with, but you hear about it so often, starting to be so common that, this is obviously the big topic we need to get ahead of. I don't know if you ever have to deal with any issues with that or any.
I mean, even myself, I don't know anyone.
Mhm.
I don't know anyone, I guess, that I'm fully aware of that has I'm not going to say, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, it's a very sensitive, and I'm uncomfortable right now. So, like, that's why I'm kind of struggling talking about this. I'm uncomfortable because I don't even know what else to say at this. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm trying to, the opioid. Yes, I know someone who's had a family member pass away because they were using opioids and it had fentanyl in it.
Same thing with my family member as well. Had fentanyl.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think that's been the biggest probably drug is fentanyl.
Yeah.
And I wish they could get that drug off the street.
Yeah, I'm man, it's terrible. I mean, and not only are people losing their lives, but I mean, how the ripple effect that goes along with that. I mean, the families, the friends,
and they can make it look like, little candies now and stuff as well.
I think they can do damn near anything they want with it. Like when you look at the amount of fentanyl, I've just seen pictures on on Twitter and different places of like the amount of fentanyl it takes that can kill you is not much.
Because you can just touch it, right, and pretty much it can pretty much kill you or so.
Yeah, I think it just absorbs into your skin, into your system that way, and then
Ooh. So, I mean, yeah, they got to do something about that, man. As I keep going down here, obviously, suicide is your next. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. A lot of people don't know about it because the news you don't hear about that as much. You hear more about homicide, but suicide is very, relevant as well. Over 48,000 deaths annually. For every suicide, there are 25 attempts. 5, and bipolar disorder affects 2.8 U.S. adults annually. My staff tends to, my staff in the past have said I'm bipolar, so maybe I need to get that checked out. They say, hey, a lot of times you're always jumping around, bouncing, and some days, hey, I don't know. Hey, so maybe I need to get that checked out. You never know, or it could just be a day. 6 is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. You hear that a lot, especially with our soldiers, whatnot, things they've seen, things they go through. Affects 3.6% of adults. More common in women than men, which I did not know that.
I didn't either.
I did not know that. So eating disorders, you hear about this quite a bit. Affect 9% of the global population. High mortality rate: 1 person dies every 52 minutes from an eating disorder.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. And 8 is stress. Chronic stress contributes to 77% of physical health issues like heart disease, which is probably the #1 killer in the U.S. So obviously common sources: work, finances, and relationships.
You got the trifecta right there.
That is the trifecta right there.
I've struggled with each and every one of those.
Me too. Each and every one of those. So I think that is a day by day, task. So
let's go back to the first one. I want to go back to that one, the anxiety piece of it.
Okay.
I kind of hinted at it a little earlier in how I started the show. I'm kind of struggling with that right now. I woke up this morning. I slept in this morning. So I went to sleep about 11:30 last night.
Okay. I
had plans of getting up and working out today and then going about my day. But I woke up, I slept till like 8:30.
Okay.
I was kind of laying there. Then I just went back to sleep and I woke up at 9:30. And immediately I felt like my day I'm behind. I felt like I'm not going to be able to accomplish everything that I wanted to accomplish today. I did not get a workout in today. There are other things that I wanted to do and I felt like I needed to do. But again, the anxiety piece of it was real right from the very beginning. Like right from the jump, I felt like I was behind. I felt like I wasn't going to get everything done. And it kind of just spun me. And, my day feels off. I felt off, from that very, very moment. And it wasn't because I didn't get upset, just because that's how my mind works. I have a plan. And if like one little piece kind of gets out of sorts, it gets me out of sorts.
That's sort of our OCD. I feel the same way. If I sleep in too long or so, if I don't get my workout, for guys like us, that kind of sets us behind. Like we're not maximizing the day like we're supposed to.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with you. I feel like that a lot, especially if I have a day off or some random reason or so. I know I can be getting so much done, and instead of just sitting around be like a lazy bum or something, there's things I can be getting done. Things I can be working on, either with the family or around the house or myself. I'm just feel like I'm behind if I'm getting a late start. So I definitely agree with you. I know how that feels.
Yeah. And the thing, like, there's nothing I can do about it at that point either. And I think that's where I still feel it at this moment. I still feel anxious. But what I need to understand and what I've learned and what I've been taught is, control what you can control.
Yes.
I cannot control those factors outside of my control. Let me say that multiple times, but the things like the fact that okay, so you slept in a little bit. All right, cool. All right, well then what do you need to do? Like, what's the next thing you need to do? So go ahead and start doing those things and get back on track and control that. Because now what's happened is that anxiety has crept into me, and now it's affecting the rest of my day.
Right. And you can't do that because they can get worse. So hey, start tackling one issue at a time so you can try to get that anxiety away from you. So yeah.
And it affected, my, waking up and just the interaction with my wife and son this morning. I was kind of short and kind of, just allowing those things to come in and affect those other things. It's like, what do I need to do? I just need to focus on the moment and be mindful of where I am,
right,
of what's going on. What is within my ability to
I really try to, I agree with you. I really try to do that as well, especially like in the moment, as you said, like whenever something is going on, I really try, because my father used to talk about it so much, I really try to control my emotions the best I possibly can and try to be as calm, because I know if I get upset or angry, I'm not thinking logically. I'm not thinking not the best I need to think at that time. I'm not thinking smart. I need to make sure I'm always being calm. And I'll get that a lot from a lot of people I know that know me. I'll try to be calm as I can so I can make the best decision on what I'm trying to do. Otherwise, you can make another wrong decision and it can spiral after that. So I just try to, do what you just did. Wake up, start doing one step at a time to try to get over that anxiety and try to accomplish as much as I can. But anytime, like if I'm feeling it, just slow down, think calm, be calm, and just do one thing at a time. So I always try to do that in any situation I'm in. Now, sometimes you can't help it.
Right.
Your anger is going to be there and you're going to let it out. But for the most part, I feel like I do a good job of trying to control it as best I possibly can in that moment, and so, and which has saved me quite a bit. It's not going to be perfect, but I just try to think about that, especially when I feel it coming on and I either want to get upset or something or be mad about something or whatnot. I'm like, okay, take a second. What's next? And just follow that step. So I agree with you in regards to that.
What I've heard that anxiety, the future is, so past is pain and anxiety is the future.
Okay.
So, if you're dwelling or if you're revisiting the past, and it's something that was a negative thought or something along those lines, then that's where pain can come from. Mm-hmm. And then the anxiety piece of it is the future. Those are things that haven't even happened yet that I'm allowing to dictate my mood. Mm-hmm. So again, I think that's the biggest thing is just being mindful for me. I'm not, obviously I just share with you that I'm going through it right now and I'm not great at it. I'm not an expert. I'm not infallible or anything like that. I'm sharing these things with you all to let you know that it's real and that it's okay to talk about it. Right. Share these things. Like that was one of the reasons why I was excited when Z, came to me with the idea of doing, BaldBoyz. This is almost, especially this particular episode is therapeutic for me, sharing and getting those things out in hopes that me being opening up like this, facing the stigma of being weak. Or showing weakness. I'm just saying.
Showing vulnerability.
Yeah.
We are vulnerable. Because I don't think it's weak. I think, what we're doing, there's somebody else dealing with the same issues that we got.
Right.
And just like you shared, I'll share my, thing that I'm dealing with, obviously. And I'll say it goes more to, not anymore, but, used to be probably overuse of alcohol or substance use disorder. That obviously 20 million adults are dealing with, U.S. adults are dealing with. So probably a year and a half ago, I made a decision to, hey, I'm definitely going to stop. I feel like I got a tap on the shoulder from the man above. And I don't know if some of you are religious, but I am very religious. I'm wearing it on my chest today. But I had to make a decision. I'm so grateful that I did make that decision. because no, I was not like a drinker in high school or college. It wasn't until I started, working, trying to go through life and dealing with life. But last year, I don't want to say last year, but probably about almost 2 years ago, probably us around the same time, got a tap on the shoulder, say, hey, you need to make a decision. I have plans for you, and the route you're going, it's not going to be the route that I want you to go down. You need to make a decision. And I made a decision, and I haven't looked back since. And ever since that day, I can honestly say it's been a whole lot better. I got more. I feel like my spirit is much stronger. I got more involved in my church. I'm trying to be, stronger in our church. I'm trying to be a stronger family man that I'm trying to be. Obviously, I feel like I've gotten a better relationship with my family, my wife, especially. Our relationship stronger. My career, this is by far been my best year career-wise. I'm number one in all categories. I feel like my friendships that I've had is also stronger. I have more energy throughout my day. I'm thinking more positive. I feel like I see my purpose more. And two things I never thought I would do was start a business, Grand Wellness LLC. I finally started a podcast with E, who's a perfect partner. And I'm getting my MBA right now, which I never, ever said I would ever do. I'm about 5 classes away, but I got to finish it. But I'm currently going through it because I never thought I would ever go back to school. But, and I'm glad I made a decision, because if had I not, I would not be, none of those things I said would ever happen. I don't know where I would be if I still was going down that road. And I just feel like, hey, some men above got different plans for me. And I'm trying to follow that path. And each day I wake up, I'm trying to get closer to that path and stay on that right path. And know that there's different ways to deal with your stresses. So I am, there's been times we have talked to a therapist. I talk to my wife more, talk to my friends more, I talk to E. I will not be ashamed to talk to someone else who's dealing with the issues that I've had. And it's been very therapeutic, just like this podcast here. Even though we're always asking for feedback, and we're going to be growing, because I see us in the future having ads and intro, and we're being split screen, big time, all that. This is honestly for us is therapeutic. We're hoping we can reach, anybody else out there that's, dealing with any health issues or wellness issues or any kind of mental issues, as well. Hey, we're all human. We all got our own issues, our own stresses, just how you're dealing with it. And you can obviously, reach out to us, and we'll definitely respond back in all our platforms. But we all got our things that we're dealing with. And and I don't think, especially as men, we don't talk about it as enough. And I can say over the past, year and a half to almost 2 years, as more I've talked about it and got away from my problem, it's been very helpful. And I've gotten a lot of responses back. And I know you have too, from people who've reached out to us or reached out to me about, hey, that, what you all talking about, or I like the journey that you're on. It's been very positive. And I just, I always want my life and to be very positive, and, and I'm always trying to give back and best I can. I want my life to be like that. I never want to, say, hey, that Z guy's negative, no. And I don't get, I don't want those responses, so I'm trying to bring as much positive as I can. Sorry for me if I'm rambling, but
no, I love it.
That's where I'm at with it.
I love it. And kudos to you for sharing that. Z mentioned his journey, and mine is I have a very similar journey. Year and a half, a little over a year and a half ago, I did seek help for alcoholism. I have not had a drink since March 23rd, 2023.
Yes,
and again, the reason that I'm sharing this as well, and I know Z too, is again, it's not about, I'm not looking for, I'm not trying to promote myself or anything like that. I'm just sharing with you and being honest with you. That's the one thing I want it to come across, is that we're being honest in hopes of being able to help others. So,
right.
Again, March 23rd, 2023, I sought treatment. I went to a treatment center. I spent like 8 weeks away from my family, and addressed a lot of, inner demons that I had, that caused me to drink. The alcohol was just a symptom of the things that I was dealing with internally. Some of the feelings that I had was not, not feeling good enough. Feelings that I had of, just things were, never seemed to be enough for me. Right. And I have an amazing family, amazing wife, amazing son, friends, support system, everything else, but that wasn't enough. Something inside me wanted more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it took me a really long time to realize that, I don't need any more. Like, that is a beautiful, wonderful thing. Like what I have, I'm fortunate and blessed to have what I have. I have a family, I have a wife, I have a son, I have a job. I have a house to live in, all these different things that I have. And I wasn't grateful for those things. And just being okay with who I am, not comparing myself to another person because they have things that maybe I don't. So again, that was 18 months ago that I dealt that. And I haven't had a drop of alcohol since then. And again, my life has gotten, so much better as well. My relationship, with my wife, with my son, our family has gotten a lot stronger, and I put them through a lot. And I'm very fortunate and blessed that I still have that. My health is so much better. When I was in treatment, I was the heaviest I ever was. I was like, I recorded was 199. I think I mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I was pre-diabetic. My blood pressure was bad. All these different things that, by removing that from there, by removing alcohol from my life has gotten so much better.
Mm-hmm.
They say the opposite of addiction is connection. I isolated myself a lot.
I did too.
From people, from, friends and family and things like that, because, I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to be a part of, productive member.
Yeah.
I don't say a productive member of society, but I was going to work, I was doing things, but I wasn't my best version of myself.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
We're both functioning.
I was not the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm still striving every day to get to that, to be a better. That's what I pray for in the mornings when I pray.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity to be a better version of myself today.
Yeah.
And then I go about my day and try to do that. Now, that doesn't mean that, again, I just shared with you earlier that I still deal with anxiety and those types of things. So it's never going to go away.
No, it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. And we were spoken about that. And, that thing inside of us both is always going to be there lingering, trying to make us make a mistake. But as long as we stay on the right path, what we're doing, we're supposed to do. And I feel great about the journey that we're on right now.
Absolutely.
I feel great about the journey that we're on right now. And hey, just one step at a time, one day at a time. And, I'm just trying to keep guiding my life as close as I can. And that's what it's about.
Let's talk about that a little bit. That's the spiritual side for me. I would consider myself more spiritual than religious. And that's just me personally. I tend to connect with, God, in a different way, really through like nature. Actually, I learned from my son that it's called natural revelation.
Okay.
Being outside, being outdoors. The sun for me is an amazing piece.
Okay.
But I'll tell you about like what I did learn too, like when I was at the treatment center, things were going on around me that probably always were going on around me, but I never stopped to recognize or to observe. you know, and then as my mind started getting clearer, the further I got away from alcohol, like by number of days, I mean,
Yeah.
and then my mental part of it, the further I got away, the more I would see, as long as I was like paying attention to things. And that's where I talk about the mindfulness of, you know, that I mentioned earlier, being mindful of how I'm feeling, right?
Right.
You know, I have this feeling inside of me, what's going on, what's causing it, those types of things. But there were things going on around me that God was doing and continues to do, that I just have to pay attention to it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I think, you know, they say that when you're dealing with especially alcohol, it messes with your mind so much. It messes with your, you know, chemically, it messes with your mind, and you don't see certain things, and it keeps you from certain things. It keeps you from thinking about certain, because it wants you to focus strictly on it, you know. And on my example, I could say, you know, especially when we're working at 5 o'clock, I would say I'm not going to drink today, and then at 5 o'clock will come, and I immediately want to drink. Like, I gotta get me some drink before I go home, you know, or whatnot. I gotta stop in my spot. Um, and that's went away. That doesn't cross my mind as much. There's been days and there's been weeks where I don't think about, you know, alcohol. And it does do something to your brain where it will block certain things out. And, you know, some people that's very religious will say, oh, that's the devil keeping away from it, you know, however you want to explain it or go through it, you know, I don't know if I'm using the right way, but I just know that I'm further and further away. I don't have those thoughts like I used to. My thoughts are more positive. My thoughts are more forward thinking. I'm thinking about, you know, future and ways I can actually be better for myself and my family, than the thoughts I had before. I felt it was keeping me stuck, because all alcohol was doing when I was in the basement by myself was just keeping me, you know, okay, well, hey, we're just dealing with the problem of today. Okay, you got pissed off at work or something, or, you know, you got something going on, you know, with family or friend or whatnot, or you feeling like you're not where you need to be in your job or whatnot. So we're just medicated today
Mm-hmm.
and push it to tomorrow. I don't think like that anymore. So I get what you're saying. So in my world, I'm thinking, hey, I feel like God is leading me down a different path. And that's what I'm trying to just stay on that path, because I know if I veer off, I know what's going to happen. So I'm just trying to stay as close as I can. But I definitely like your theory as well about nature, because when I am on my runs or whatnot, something about being out in nature and going my runs early in the morning, it does do something to me, man. It does do something to my mind and my body, being out in nature on those runs. I just feel so much better when I get it done, and my days are better. So
Well, I feel connected, I guess is what it is. Like, that's how I feel, like connected to God, to the universe, and to other people. Like, that's the part for me that, like, that makes me feel um at peace and at calm, with that. And um again, like the connection piece of it, like there's a couple different things of, um I don't think about it as often, right?
right,
You know, because again, it would be like, okay, um it's, yeah, 5 o'clock, or, you know, it's time for that drink, whether or not it was a long day, or just the fact that that's just what I was doing, just like the kind of the cycle that I
oh,
was in.
especially if a game was on.
Yeah, yeah. And I just know I can't do that. And I'm not saying to anybody else, I'm not trying to put
Yeah,
my feelings or project anything on
yeah,
you.
we're
I'm just
not doing
saying,
that.
yes. Um, our personal experience has not been a good one with alcohol.
Mhm.
And we recognize that now. And I don't ever want to go back. And I know I put, if I take one drink, put one in me, I'm going to be right back where I was.
Yep, same here.
So I
Same
just
here.
can't do it.
Yep,
I can't do it. And then I have too much to lose,
exactly.
and I'm not willing to do that.
No, I got too much to lose. I agree with you on that. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. I love you, man.
I love you too.
Yeah. I got a quick couple of key stats real quick, and then we're going to move on to some other topics, but I want to read these here. Some key stats: mental health treatment. Only 43% of adults with mental illness receive treatment. So talk to someone, receive that treatment. You don't know, you don't know what you need, but you need to get it checked out. Barriers is stigma, cost, and lack of access. Don't let them keep you from getting the treatment you need. Impact of stigma. 9 out of 10 people with mental health issues experience stigma and discrimination. Don't let nothing get in your way. Economic impact. Mental health conditions cost the global economy $1 trillion annually in lost productivity.
I read that one. That one was like,
That's crazy.
it blew my mind, but whenever I stopped to think about it,
wow,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, like just from where I was,
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't the best version of myself.
Yeah. A couple of emergency support. Obviously, if you are dealing with anything, I'm gonna read a couple of these lines. Some of these numbers I haven't never heard of, but today you might not have heard of them either. But if you need them, one is 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Call or text 988 for 24/7 confidential crisis support. Next is the SAMHSA National Helpline, 1-800-662-HELP for mental health or substance use assistance. Mental health organizations, National Alliance on Mental Illness, MHA, Substance Abuse and Mental Services Administration, Crisis Helpline, and Alcohol Anonymous, AAA. Just a couple topics to reach out to. So, hey, if you are dealing with anything, make sure you check in on your friends and family, or anybody out there. If you see something, say something.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big thing that people don't say. If you see something, say something. You never know what somebody's going through. And never, just because somebody's smiling or in your face, whatnot, you never know what somebody's going through personally, or that's hidden. And I think that's a quote from actually Robin Williams, who mentioned that. And we all know what happened to him, but you just never assume anything. Everybody got their own issues and troubles that they're dealing with. So just be kind to people. You just never know that one thing could trigger them. Because you never know.
And I think that's the one thing that not the one thing, but one of the things that I've learned and is to be patient, to have grace. I had to allow myself grace, but to allow others grace too. Because like you mentioned, you don't know. No. You don't know what people are dealing with. You see what that one moment, you see someone in that one, could be the worst moment of their life, potentially.
Yeah.
And so however they may act, we control two things: the thoughts that we entertain, the thoughts that we turn, the actions that we take after that thought.
Right.
So if I allow a thought to affect me, and if I react negatively, then that can spin me. It can spin the other person. So again, be patient, have some grace for others, for those out there, for everybody's, for all human beings, right?
Yeah.
We're all just trying to figure this thing out.
That's right. That's right. We want to do some quick hitters, some quick fun topics real quick before we end the live today. So first one, let's get into the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Okay. So, we previewed it a little bit last week. Here's my thought. I know a lot of people are saying that it was rigged, it was scripted, it was this, that, or the other. Right. Money grab and all these different things.
Yeah.
Okay. So number one, I didn't have to pay pay-per-view. I have, if you have Netflix, then you were able to watch through the glitches. I did have to refresh quite a bit.
Me too.
But I didn't have to pay for it. So money grab, it wasn't my money. And I think Netflix got what they want. I mean, legitimately, their servers crashed. There were so many people watching. Their servers crashed. So I think they were okay with paying Jake and Mike a lot of money.
Yeah, apparently Jake got 40 and Mike got 20 million.
I hope so. Number two for me was as hard as it was to watch Mike Tyson during the fight, I don't think he needed to be in there. He wasn't right. But it was nice to see him in there. It was nice.
It was seeing Iron Mike,
kind of give him his flowers.
He's an icon. Yeah, he's an icon. I hate they had a knee brace on.
Yeah.
He couldn't move. He was stationary. I was like, dang, and that's not Iron Mike. He's 58 and it really showed. But the highlights though, when the episodes leading up to it, he was moving around better. And I don't know what happened with his knee. I know he said he didn't want to use that as an excuse, but
he looked wobbly. He didn't look
because
sturdy.
Had that been the 20-year-old Mike, that'd been over in 15 seconds. Jake, he would got Jake out of there quick. And Jake better know that, but he's lucky he got Michael stationed, a 58-year-old man. But hey, he didn't get him out of there. He did last 8 rounds.
He lasted 8 rounds. It kind of went about how I thought it would. I thought there'd be a little more holding. I thought maybe Mike would throw a few more punches based on the lead up.
I thought Mike would at least last to the 3rd round, but really after the 1st round, he was tired.
He caught him with one good shot, the shot that he hit him in the throat. Yeah. And then that was the thing where Jake had the tongue out.
Yeah. So Jake, I guess he can take a punch, but man, he needs to show me that he can fight somebody his age that's actual boxer. I'm ready to see that now. I think when he did against Fury, that kind of showed, even though he knocked Fury down to the last round, but he needs to fight somebody else. I think he called out Conor McGregor for his next one. It's a show.
Man, I
think Conor would be a stronger opponent for him, though.
Yeah,
Conor can throw those. He
has boxed before,
and I think he might have said MMA too.
He would fight MMA.
I think Jake's just said because Conor's stand-ups anyway.
Yeah.
So hey, but he said no weight class though.
Okay. Jake's a big dude. He is
big. He's bigger than I thought. He's 6'1", 228.
Yeah.
So.
And the fight went kind of how I thought. I thought there'd be a little more holding. I thought Mike would get off a little bit more and throw some more punches. I felt like Jake kind of held back.
He did say he noticed in the 3rd round, because they asked him after the 3rd round, did you see that? And he was said, okay, I didn't want to get him out of there and let that be like the end of his legacy. So I was like, dang, I love Mike, man. I love his highlights, man. But that ain't the same Iron Mike, you all. I mean, if you was younger watching that, that's not the same Iron Mike. He would not last 15 seconds with, in there. So, but that was just good to see him, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that was give him his flowers. I was not ready to see his ass.
I was about to say
that totally caught me. That totally caught me off guard. That was crazy.
Some people say it stopped and started buffering at that point.
And the crazy part was his son is doing the interview with him. And he talks to his son, and he's like, says whatever, and he's like, I love you, and he's like, I love you too, Dad. And he turns around, he walks away, and his ass is hanging.
and then it starts buffering.
Yeah.
So Netflix, they definitely won, but also too, they were auditioning for the NFL because they're gonna try to get some NFL game.
Well, I hope they learned a lot, because there's some opportunities. The people, the announcers, not the announcers do ringside, but the ones that were up there.
Because Jerry Jones was talking and Michael Irvin was talking, and kept cutting out.
Yeah. And in Holyfield, he couldn't hear anything, which I don't know, man. He's got hit a lot. So, but hopefully they'll get all the bugs worked out by Christmas.
Yeah, but they said that's the biggest sporting event that was watched. I don't know if they said it right. Was it 60 million or 120 million? It was something like that watched that fight. So Netflix got it. They got their money's worth.
Yeah, they got what they got. Absolutely.
Yeah, even the women's fight too. I forgot the name, but that was
the best fight.
That was the best fight.
Who do you think won?
What's the lady from Puerto Rico? I think
Serrano.
She won that fight, and the other girl, I feel like she was fighting dirty. Taylor.
Yep.
Even my wife was saying that girl's fighting dirty.
She led with the head a lot.
Yeah, she was leading with the head a lot, and I was like, man, you don't got. But the stats show that Serrano won in the stats. Even the last fight they had like that was like that. So they should. And she was so nice and so graceful when she was giving her an interview. But she should have won. I don't know what Katie Taylor has on the refs, but she got something because she shouldn't have won.
I agree that I felt the same way. The fight that I was watching, I thought she was landing the bigger, heavier punches, more effective punches. And then Taylor with the headbutts. I did see on Twitter, I didn't fact check it, but I did see that someone was saying that Taylor outpunched Serrano or outlanded her in 6 rounds. So what they're saying is that in those 6 rounds, Taylor landed more punches than Serrano did. So therefore, maybe the referees gave her those 6 rounds.
But the stats they showed right after said that Serrano landed more, threw more
for the total fight, though.
Total fight.
So maybe those 4 rounds, like she just double.
How many rounds did it go again?
It was 10.
Was it 10? But also too, though. But you took a point away from him though too.
Right.
And that cut was nasty, man.
It was nasty.
Yeah, it was.
That had to hurt.
That had to hurt. But all just a lot of our opponents end up like that. That should tell you something there. So they gotta get that checked out. Hope they do a third. They say they can do a third match with 3-minute rounds instead of 2-minute. So that's what Katie said right after the fight. So I hope they do. And Serrano, whoops that girl's ass. So that's what I hope to see. My money's on Serrano.
Yes, mine too.
Yeah,
mine too.
Let me see. The last thing was, I know you didn't get a chance to see it, but it's a quick highlight: Jones versus Stipe. Obviously, I saw the highlights this morning. It was only one round, and Jones, he's the MMA king. He's the greatest MMA fighter of all time. I think he's trying to fight Alex Pereira next. I don't know. Dana wants him to fight Tom next instead, but John Jones, man, his ring IQ is phenomenal. I don't think no one can ever touch him or beat him. Nobody. I know. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't want to even come. I would never want to be in the alley alone with him.
No,
that guy, man.
I didn't see the fight either. I've watched. I've gone back and watched some of his fights in the past on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Dude is a wizard when it comes to like being in the ring. Like just the timing that he has, the way that he can get himself into position, for. Just for finishing dudes off, right?
Yeah. And in this one, he usually does like spinning elbows, whatnot. He didn't do that. He did a spinning back kick to the ribs here and put Stipe down and finished him. Just amazing. He probably studied Stipe and knew what he was going to do the entire time because, one round he got Stipe out, which never all happens with Stipe. And just amazing, man. Just amazing. Nobody can mess with that dude. Nobody.
John Bones Jones.
But as we wrap up here, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you are watching today. Also, too, you can follow us on Instagram, BaldBoyz, X, BaldBoyz,
502
at BaldBoyz 502. Of course, on YouTube. Tell your friends, family about us today. I think today was our very deep episode, but I think our best episode. I felt, feel good about it. Like I said, this is therapy, and this could be therapy for somebody else as well. But just definitely follow us here. We're continuing to grow. We're up to 74 subscribers, trying to get to 100 by next time. We'll see what happens. But yeah, any ideas you may have, anything you want to talk about, or any suggestions you may have for us. I think I had a friend reach out to me as I was on the way over here. He reached out to me and wanted us to talk about leadership. And how can you improve, work on yourself, and to be a better leader or be a better version of yourself. So that could be our next topic there. But yeah, we appreciate all the feedback and any suggestions you may have for us to continue to grow. We definitely love it.
Well, and absolutely. Very well said, Z. Like I'm still uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I wasn't, I know we talked about, and I brought up the idea of the mental health you were asking about. And I was like, let's do mental health. And then, really wasn't, I was thinking a little bit different. I thought we might go in a different direction, but I'm glad we did, because again, for why we got into this, why we wanted to do this is, to help other people. Mm-hmm. And we can't do that if we're not honest with you all about what's going on with us and the experiences that we've had. And then we want to share those experiences and things that we've done to overcome adversity, go through challenges, different things that life has in store for us. And it's different for everybody. So again, for me, as Z said, just if you need someone to talk to. If you don't have somebody to talk to, think of in your mind of like who a friend, family member, use the employee assistance programs that you have at work. Reach out to Z and I, DM us, again, through the different social media platforms that we have. We're not professionals in any of these areas, but if it will help however we can, in addressing those. And if it's getting you in touch with somebody or providing you some resources, we'd be more than happy to do that as well.
Definitely.
One of the things, you know, that I've kind of adopted lately is the only way out is through. You know, like if I'm in the middle, if I'm stuck somewhere, I know what's behind me. I know where I've been. I know what that is, and I don't want to go back there.
Right.
So the only way through and to the other side is through this. And I feel like I truly feel that and believe that. So if you feel stuck, look behind you, you know, look at where you've been. And if it's somewhere that you don't want to go back to, you don't have to.
Yeah. If you're going through a storm, don't go back through the storm. Keep going through it. You know, let's light the end of the tunnel. Let's light it in the tunnel. Keep going through it, and you'll get there.
Appreciate everybody that joined us today and the support. Smash the button, subscribe to the BaldBoyz.
Yes, sir.
And other than that, let's just be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Love one another. Help somebody out today.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yes, sir. All right.
Love
Have a great day.